Okay, so you've probably... Hold on, let me put the tungstens on my head as we power them. Oh. You've probably seen this on this desk for a while now, and I haven't just done a review of it. And if you're a fan of the live streams, you'll see this DAC over in the speaker testing arena for the near field, where I do DAC testing. But I have another review. Because they're expensive, and they're S.M.S.L. It's like, no one wants to watch you do a review of a $1,700 S.M.S.L. stack. But you're going to watch me because you're going to listen. Now, let's get the names out of the way. This is the SH-X headphone amplifier. And this is the SU-X DAC. Yeah, it's the SUX DAC, all right? They did it. I don't know if they did it as a joke. Like, if they got it. Because they have, like, the SH thing and the SU-9, SU-8. Those are all standard fucking S.M.S.L. model numbers. And then they came out with, like, the S.M.S.L SU-10. And now it's the S.M.S.L XU-X. And I don't think anyone told them. I'm pretty sure no one told them. It's just like, hey, this DAC sucks. It doesn't. It's actually really good. But they could just pay me like $500 a month, and I'll just proofread all their ideas. And it's all I want. It was a small fee, and they'll make sure they don't put out a DAC that calls the SUX DAC that has MQA in it and costs $1,000, because that just writes itself. So these units, which are quite heavy and quite warm, and I may have to walk around to look at the back because they're attached with short power cables, are sold individually. The DAC itself is $999, and you could choose to ignore that if you want. Just look at the wallpaper. You don't watch the thing? Look at the wallpaper. But it's a $1,000 MQA DAC, and they like to say it a lot in the post, but I think now that MQA is bankrupt, by the way, small round of applause for Golden Sound and everyone else who helped eliminate MQA's existence. Oh, wait! They were bought by someone else, and they're going to rebrand it and put it on some other shit, so fuck. But the dying breed of expensive MQA things. The SH-X keeps showing up on my desk here because it's fucking good. Like, it's powering tungsten. I'm not going to list the power output to 16 ohm because there's no 16 ohm headphones. But the power output to 32 ohms is 5.5 watts a channel. This is 5.5 watts a channel at 32 ohms. Fuck you, 16 ohms, 11 watts. Bullshit. There are no 16 ohm headphones that need to be powered with this. However, tungsten, being 150 ohms, makes an appearance. Let's see where, hold on. So if 32 ohms is 5.5 watts and 300 ohms is 600 milliwatts, somewhere in the middle between those is about 2.5 to 3 watts per channel. Maybe 2.5 watts, which is enough to run fucking tungsten. Well, at 75%. That's running tungsten well. Like, I still prefer it on like a tube and a massive power amp, but I'm going to pause that. We're going to go into the menu and lower the gain because it does not need to be on high gain for anything else we're doing. We'll put it on mid gain. And we'll swap over to something more attainable because these are becoming unobtainium again. I think the last time I checked it was like a 14-week wait. So we have a choice. Now we could run the FIO JT1s with Eris pads. Eris is my collab headphone. But think about changing the pads in your JT1. I hear some complaints about comfort and this and that. Boom. Also, ironically, I'm running this on the tungsten cable, which is a Viking Weave. And I'm running that on my collab IEM cable. It's just fine. We're here on Z Reviews. Shit's going to happen. Mark the left and right. We definitely won't need 75%. Yeah, 45 on medium. Plenty. So, let's just get sound out of the way. When I put this on the desk to be part of, like, when I do an IM review, like, you go into the description and there's like 7 amplifiers I use. And the reason there's 7 amplifiers I use in an IM review or a headphone review It's because each amplifier has a different flavor profile. Like the Rebel amp that's down here is Class A, so that's a little bit more warmth. You got the IFI. This is the Neo IDSD2, which is like, that's very IFI sound. It's got, you know, dynamics, and it's got the X bass and things I can play with. Got a Black Ice tube amp. We've got usually the little JDS Labs down here. Qualifies as my affordable, neat, clean, solid state. And then I need a neat, clean, expensive solid state. So the goal of this, and the reason I take this one out to do listening, is if I want to go a little bit more upper end than the Atom 2, but I don't want to actually physically manifest a change due to the amplification. So one of the complaints people have about like topping stuff is, oh, topping stuff all sounds very dry. Good. If I got rid of the Atom and this, and I just tried to assess IEMs on fucking tubes and hybrid tubes and IFI stuff and the Wall 11 Topaz, I would be lost. I have no point of reference. I want this amplifier to basically be neutral. Like, don't add anything. Don't be warm. Don't be cold. Don't be, you know, sibilant. Just fucking exist. In spades, it exists. Just like me. People look at me and they're like, hey, that guy over there, he's existing perfectly. And I'm like, yep, I am. That is this thing's job. It's not to add warmth or if you want to do that, there's a million fucking options you can play around with. Go get a Mass Kobo portable and you just, there you go. End of days. Can't review on Mass Kobo portables. They do too much to the sound. When I get this, I know for a fact that when I'm putting it in, I'm putting in the exact gain setting that I'm getting. This is exactly like an average listening experience. It's averaging out all the changes. So that's probably not interesting to a bunch of you, but to anyone who's got a fucking million different things, you want this sound in your house. You do. You get your 4-pin XLR, you get your 4.4 Pentacon, and you get your 1/4 inch. Perfect. I got to talk about the design style about both of these units for a second, because I don't know if you could see it, but the screen comes up above the unit, and it like shifts from the bottom, which when you're using only one, it's kind of weird, but when you're using them in a stack like this, it's still kind of weird, but it's awesome because instead of it just being like unit with screen, you now have this separate screen that's slightly upshifted, and they interlock like perfectly, so the gapping is the same as if it was down. It's a little touch. They're charging a lot for this stack, and they want you to know that, hey, look, we give a shit about something. We're just going to put this piece of fucking glass out and up. And you know what? I fucking approve of it. For somehow, this is the most stylish set of things that S.M.S.L has ever produced, even over the previous $1,000 a piece set, which had like the depth in the front. It was still a black box. It's got heat sinks on the side of it. This has got like contrast, and it's got like the black knob, I guess, could be more interesting than just a black knob that could have put something on the insert of this. But ooh, this is kind of nice. Like, if you're a minimalist, this is absolutely the fuck up your alley, because it's like box, but wait, heat sinks. Oh, but wait, glass that's slightly off. Ooh, this has grown on me quite a bit since I've had it. And it does feel a little more luxurious. I've been using them so much I can't get the glass clean. I keep spitting on it. So, power, heat, big amp boy sticker. Settings are the same settings that have been in every S.M.S.L since the beginning of fucking time. Let's go up. We got input, XLR or balanced. You got output, which is headphones or pre-out. If I go to pre-out and I hit play, I am controlling those Swan M5As that are on the shelf there. Those are my official test speakers. Do I have anything with a pre-out? Do I want to listen to the pre-out? Boom, I could do that. We're going to shut that off now so I don't get a copyright strike. Volume mode. This is interesting, yet at the same time disinteresting. There's real-time or soft. So how you change the volume, it can be real-time or soft. Now you would think, in fact, we could test this with the speakers. We're going to put that to soft and put the output back up to pre-out. Are we going to be okay with Beethoven? I can never tell. So let's get out of this. I've now set it to soft volume. instead of real time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to turn the volume up fast. See what it's doing? Now let's go back and put the volume mode on real time and go back out. We'll change tracks.
Thank you so much. It's one of my favorite songs, ladies and gentlemen. We're running out of time.
This is Richard Cheese, by the way. Did you hear it clicking now? So in real time, every time you turn the knob, it goes click, 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 and it changes from 21 to 22 to 23. On soft, which is... Oh, I just shut it off. On soft, which is a weird option, instead, you decide what you want your volume to be, and when you stop, instead of going click, 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 it goes lift, move over, blast your shit. And that's, like, not necessarily something I want to get into. Why is it flashing red? Hold on a second. Undo, do. Maybe you have to wait after I turn it off. I might be cycling it too fast. Oh, God. All right, you know what? Fine. You just sit there and blink for a second. We'll talk about the DAC. Because as much as the SUX DAC is the SUX DAC, I like it. And I have a place now where I can listen to the differences between two DACs, which is both bothersome for me as a human being who has for years strove to be like, look, all DACs sound the same. And I still kind of believe that. All right? I still kind of believe that. Turn on, you bastard. I do it now. Oh, it stopped blinking. Wow, if it just blew up and died right here in the spot. I don't know. Where's my amp one? I've labeled the remote controls, by the way. This one's got an A, and this one's got a D. Because they have the RC8C, which is the DAC, and the RC8D is the amplifier one. Did I turn this back on? I'm getting this review done, regardless of it just... Oh, maybe it's... Is it weirded out? I have no idea why that light's blinking. I've never seen it blink before. We might be going through a diagnostic thing together. It's going to be fun. I like that amplifier, and I'm recommending it. Moving on to the DAC. This has a bigger screen. In fact, I've got another S.M.S.L that got delivered. That's another amp that has the larger screen with the more advanced fucking, like when you go into the menu, it's got like, ooh, it's all visual. Ooh. Get out of this. So the SUX DAC, when I say I could hear a difference in DACs, it's very specifically on like a $5,000, $2,200 speakers. We got $2,000 in amplifiers. We got a $500 sub, and it's all in soft near field, and it's this far away. I've had to do all of this shit. What is wrong with this amp? I've had to do all of this shit to... Maybe it's overheating. You know what? I've got them stacked. She's hot, but she's not that hot. She's been running for like days and days and days. But I've got all this shit that's expensive in a specific setting in order for me to tell DACs apart. And that is actually the best case scenario for you, the consumer. Because it means, and when I couldn't hear the difference between DACs on normal headphones, and I'll point at fucking Tungsten, and I'll point to the Neumann NDH30s, hell, I'll even point to the JT1s. Most headphones, I cannot tell apart DAC A and DAC B. It requires a $5,000 specifically built custom speaker setup for me, the normal human, to be able to assess the difference in DACs. And it isn't just like a clarity thing. It isn't like quality goes from 8 to a 9. When I'm talking about the difference in DACs, it's exacerbated depth and sound staging. It's placement. The better a DAC, if you go from like $100 super entry level to a decent $300 or $400 DAC to like over $1,000. Those over $1,000 DACs, when I sit there in that specific speaker setup, I could hear the sounds like moving, like doing like this shit. So how much is that worth to you if you can't detect that on a headphone? It should be worth the same as it always has been. Don't bother. Just get a DAC that makes decent measurements and comes out fine. When you're going up, when you finally get like a $50,000 speaker setup, maybe then you could think about a DAC over $1,000. And you are a DAC just under $1,000. But I trust it. S.M.S.L has come out of nowhere from being just like S.M.S.L is S.M.S.L is S.M.S.L, it's worse than Topping, to Topping coming out with the DX9, which fucking blows my brain completely out of my head. Because the DX9 is not much more expensive than this. And it's a DAC amp combo. So it's like, well, why would you bother buying a stack when you could buy one that's built in, integrated with line out and pre? So that's Topping's fucking go at the game. And S.M.S.L is sitting here and just hammering, tweaking, and hammering and tweaking. So that when I plug this DAC into that setup, I know it's about as good as it can get. I have the Holo Cyan 2 on there right now, which is like a $1,300, DAC. And that might be edging out all these $1,000 fucking S.M.S.Ls, which no one gives a shit about. But no one gives a shit about it until I talk about it, and then people who are obsessed about quality will give a shit about it. But for now, just know that this is a DAC that I trust. If you were like, hey, Zeos, we're setting up this room at Capital Audio Fest, and we've got $30,000 in speakers, and we've got a $6,000 fucking set of, I would only allow Orchard Audio amplifiers, but we've got all these amps and all these speakers, and we've got the room padded up. Can we borrow a DAC? Easily give them this. Gladly. Here, take this. Take it. It's fine. I've assessed it. I've vetted it. It's perfect. And then you can go into the settings of this, and let me start at the beginning. So inputs, obviously, coaxial. Actually, let me go in order. Hold on, wait. USB Type B, USB Type C, 2 USB inputs. Bluetooth, optical, coaxial, AES EBU, II2S. All right, you've got all these options. I'm running in II2S. So you got tons of inputs, outputs, all balanced or unbalanced. So I'm running the balance cables from this to this. I was previously using this on the Gishelli Labs DayZ, but I put it to this. And there's a slight difference in sound. Just slight that I can tell. Just a littlest bit. But is it worth more money or less? No. So don't worry about it. So there is our all line out. PCM filter, which is the standard shit where you have, filter off, which I've never seen. Here's the thing. Usually with PCM filters, you get to choose minimum phase, apodizing, linear fast. I've never seen filter off. It's never been on option before. It's always been, well, which one of these things that you can't hear? These I still can't hear a difference of. I'll tell you when I build like a $60,000 isobaric chamber with subwoofers on my balls, if I could tell the difference between fucking minimum phase, apodizing, etc. But we're going to turn it off because fuck it. DSD filters, which we're not using DSD, so it doesn't matter. All right, we're going to skip past sound for a second. Preamp, fixed or variable. I have it set to variable. The reason I have it set to variable is because when you set it to fixed, whatever the volume was set at in the unit, I had it at negative 37. I set it to fixed because I'm using it as a fixed output. It's stuck at negative 37. That's a feature, not a bug. The only problem is you have to come back in here, switch it from fixed to variable, adjust your volume, then go back in here and go back to fixed, and it'll lock again at that. And I wish when it was locked, it would say like locked and that, but it doesn't. So you're dealing with it. The function key, which is when you push this in, you can choose what that does. You have the options of outputs or Bluetooth. That's it. I'm choosing outputs because if I want to switch, well, this being the DAC, so the outputs would actually only switch between being balanced or unbalanced. So really it doesn't matter. So maybe Bluetooth would be better, but I'm not using Bluetooth, but whatever. You have those two options. I'd rather it let me choose inputs, honestly. DPLL, which has something to do with dejittering, or in here it says lower, better, digitare. Puts an extra E on there. II2S mode, which is normal or reverse, which is for the wiring because it's not standard. Dimmer, which will dim the screen after a certain amount of time. Brightness, which on this screen is 99. I think, does it go down to 0? I don't need this many set levels of brightness. This is too many levels of brightness. Please fucking stop. Can we go to 0? I want to know if there's 99 or 100 options. Nope, there's 99 options. And brightness is 1. This would just be 1 to 6. I don't feel like, I don't think I need exactly 69 brightness, but we're going to set it to that. And then you have reset, which resets the whole thing. Now, going back to the sound option I skipped. This has been a thing on some DACs for a while, and I think it's underused and underappreciated. This is a sound coloring mode. Know how I was saying this amplifier, which we'll try to turn back on now and see if she actually runs. Are you going to blink? I think the amp died. Did I kill the amp? There's no fucking way I killed the amp. Just turn on. Hold this button down. Huh. Weird. Anyway, back to this. So, as I was saying with this amplifier, that works perfectly, and I fucking swear to God, I will throw it into my thing and run over with the lawnmower if it just died today. But as it is very, very neutral and doesn't add the warmth of a Class A or the tubes or anything else, guess what? If you have this DAC, you can fake those things into the signal. Because you have the choice of standard, rich 1, rich 2, rich 3, tube 1, tube 2, tube 3, crystal 1, crystal 2, crystal 3. You have 9 alternate modes past standard that lets you change the output of a DAC digitally, internally, through something that S.M.S.L has coded to add like a tube warmth or a richness to like the mid-range or a little bit of like a treble boost for the in the crystal settings. So if you don't like the way what you're outputting to sounds and you're like, maybe I need a different amp, fucking stop, put this thing on tube 2, which is like the medium amount of tube, and try playing it then and there. That might be all you need is just, okay, tube 2. Now we're on tube 2. Now we're going to play tube 2. Tube 2. We are tube 2. That's what we're able to play on. So, let's talk about the remotes for a second. They are identical except for the model numbers. And they're identical for the buttons. And they all do different functions. You got your function key, which is, well, obviously what you could code in. You got your mute. You got your inputs. You got your volume here, which is in the right spot for a remote. If you're looking at something, you don't want to take your eyes off it. You just rest your thumb. If your thumb is automatically resting on the remote's volume, they did a good job. You get your menu, up, down, left, right, power button. Where's my fucking amp? I'm gonna have to figure out what I did to this amp because it's been working for fucking months and it decided just to die during the middle of the review. So, but let me finish up with the DAC. The DAC is pretty basic, except for that sound color shit. But all the internals, which by the way, I wanted to show you the internals of things. So here's the amp. Look at the ladder. The low noise op amp parallel design, 40-piece low amp op amp filters used in each channel. 40. There's 40 soldered op amps per channel. So you think like, oh, but Zeos, it's got no, but fuck, it's got so much going on in here. To make a neutral amplifier that can pull off the power this one can and the cleanliness, it takes a lot of fucking effort. And then if we go over to the DAC, two toroidal transformers. They're not charging $1,000 because this thing is like, oh, it's just charge $1,000. Idiots will pay for it. There's actual stuff in here. 2 toroidal transformers in a DAC is fucking silly. You got these big caps. You've got these separate isolated bass over here. It says SUX on the inside of it because of fucking course it does. It also says powerful performance, which is a bullshit slogan for a DAC. I don't want powerful performance from a DAC. I want acoustical performance. Power is not required. So, yeah, let me pause the camera now. See if the shucks. It's like, sucks? Nah, shucks. I put a sticker on you. You better turn back on. Give me a minute to fix that. Plus, I got to take a leak. And then we're going to make this review finalize, and I can kiss you all goodbye. So I got it back on. All I did was change the power cord to something that's not in this weird 4-wire cluster. And also, I should point out on the back of the amplifier is a switch from floating to grounded. So if you have a ground loop somewhere in your system, you can literally float the ground so it doesn't interfere with the rest of your stuff. That's a nice feature. Here is the back of the amp. You get a USB-C on the amp for a firmware update. The way these work, and I love this. Topping did this, I believe, and now S.M.S.L does it. You basically, it hosts a USB drive. If you plug that in, if you wanted to store pictures of your, wife's fucking sister, somewhere where your wife's not going to find it, you plug a USB-C into a computer, and it comes up as a USB drive, like 8 megs or 8 gigs. I forget what it is. It's small. What you do is you drag the firmware onto it, or any scandalous pictures. Then you disconnect, turn on the unit, and it reads the file in there, consumes it, because it's gone once you've done that, and that's how it loads the firmware on it. Which is kind of cool. It's like a hidden storage spot. There's a USB-C here as well. I'm not sure if you would probably... I guess since this DAC hooks up specifically USB, you can just fucking update it that way. But yeah, here's your outputs. There's your... Wait, no. Here's your outputs. Here's your inputs, which I've disconnected everything. We should probably put it back together now. Oh, God. Loop it all over. Loop it all over. Get some nice XLR cables. World's best. I did have to label them left and right, though, because they don't label them by default. The DAC itself is kind of interesting because the board's upside down. So when you go to plug in your XLRs, it's like, nope, turn them upside down. This is right speaker. This is left speaker. You got your RCAs. I shouldn't have looked at the DAC first. So the DAC there, here's your USB-A, USB-B-C, optical, coaxial, I2S, Bluetooth antenna, AES, EBU. There's your left, right, and RCA outputs. And you can use them all at the same time, which is nice because some of the other high-end DACs literally can't. They're like one thing at a time. Please, one thing at a time. So let's plug in you because before we end this. Because now that I've got it set, now that I've got this set, just normal, we only need probably 2. But now that I've got this, the DAC set for Tube 2 sound color, now if we hit next track, oh, I should probably, all right, DAC, don't want the DAC, want the amp, when hit function. So the function button on this will either go from line out to headphone out. There you go. Now, having listened to these headphones a billion times and having listened on this amplifier a billion times, I've listened to a clean, normal DAC 1,000 times, I can definitely tell that DAC is doing something just to fuck with the sound just a little bit. Like in House of the Dragon, which, by the way, I can't wait to start watching next season. And this does not need high gain. These headphones are so efficient. Let's go in here, gain set, low gain. I mean, once you know how to navigate, it's pretty fucking fast. Actually, we can lower the DAC too. If you want it lowered here. There you go. There's a song. Of course, it's fucking Monogatari. Otori Monogatari. Yeah, I would assess. I could, and I do, assess every headphone and IM that comes through this place on basically half of the stack. By the way, I can't just NDH30s for those of you who haven't. Wait. And it does remember between the line out and the headphone out the different volumes, which is nice. So here's the thing. These are nice. They're expensive. And I don't think anybody out there is like, you know what? I really want to spend $1,700 on a nice audiophile setup. I think everyone wants to spend $1,700 on a kick-ass, badass, fucking wild. And then you have to fucking start but S.M.S.L is trying to go classy with this. S.M.S.L, the company that I started learning about because of their little 36 watt per channel amplifiers that, you have the knob and the button, there's still some of them over here somewhere, has gone from that to this. And it blows my mind. Like, we've grown together. Me as a channel and them as a company, and they've got all these adult, design features on things. It's wild. So, do I think that it's worth spending I think if you spent $1,700 on this, I'd be like, okay, cool. What else you got? If this is your only thing, then that's your only thing, and you could adjust it too. But I feel like this is more for people who have something they've got a lot of wild, weird shit stacked up. They got Burson stuff, and they've got reference Italian-made QES reference stuff, and Black Eye stuff, and weird IFI stuff. This is more of the adult. This is what were the Dietzes? This is perfect for Beetlejuice. The mother from Beetlejuice. This would be her audio setup. It's just stone and black and silver. And she's like, yes, give me this. This is perfect. So there you go. I mean, I got to do like 97 more of these. In fact, I've got a preview of the next one. Get off the wood, you bastard. Here is the next revision of the expensive S.M.S.L family, which is, for some reason, slightly wider, different fascia, that screen up here, center volume knob now. It's like, how many of these things am I supposed to get? It's also shorter by about an inch. So I haven't had enough time to assess this, but I'm going to assume it's going to be good. And again, they want like little details underneath. S.M.S.L, calm down. One of these, actually, they may have done these a year apart. I'm just so far behind. But, like, calm down. We only need one high-end S.M.S.L stack. And you need, like, some $500 piece stacks and then some $250 piece stacks. And if you want to go fucking crazy, I know Topping now has, like, their big 1-bit ones are, like, huge. Like, wouldn't even fit underneath this beautiful Grovemade stand, by the way. I will link to Zeos, link to Grovemade. This wooden stand has saved my ass many a times. I almost wish it had less of an angle there so I could fit more stuff, but it's so pretty. It's just so pretty. Anyway, wallpaper in the wallpaper hoard. Link to these on APOS, link to these on APOS. Hell, even link to this on APOS. Figure out what you want to do, because, I mean, we're just going to keep going, and at some point I'm just going to be like, why don't I just combine all these 97 things that you've made this year into one review and be like, that one. But until then, get your SH-X and get your SUX, because I actually do like the SUX DAC. I just don't know if I can convince anybody to spend $1,000 on it. So yeah, but good. Patreon, subscribe to support this channel. See reviews early, like this impeccable review. Like, no one can live without seeing this review early. Oh man, oh god, what would I have done if I didn't get this like 2 weeks early? Lossless sound demos and all sound demos that have disappeared from YouTube are available to patrons, and a monthly Q&A that is available once a month for $5 patrons. $10 patrons, behind the scenes chat, ask me questions anytime you want. All the questions all the time. And you get into a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales. Almost got the yard sales. Either APOS is going to ask for these back, or they're going to, indubitably, 1 or 2 parts will end up in the yard sale. Maybe this will end up in the yard sale instead. Maybe I'll like these more than that. But then I also have that other $1,000. I've got like $7,000 or $8,000 in $1,000 pieces of S.M.S.L gear. And it's like, what am I going to do with all this? So yard sales will happen, because that helps pay for this fucking house, which is not cheap. But oh my god, electric bills. My lowest electric bill, by the way, for those of you wondering, since it was kind of like cooler, was $405. Yeah, so thank you. And I have pretty good rates here in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. So yeah, but I'm heating and cooling my house on electric, and I've got way too many computers, and like I leave that on. The Musician Pegasus R2R DAC, and that just draws like 30 watts all day. It's all day. All day. I'm just going to draw watts. Anyway, wallpaper hoard, all this. Thank you for supporting me. Tilted Nation mousepad, which you probably even haven't noticed is a mousepad here. There is a mousepad here. This is a great excuse for you to go to Amazon and buy something. If you don't, it's fine with me. If you do, thank you so much. And I will probably have seen you all already in Can Jam London. If I haven't, it's coming up the 20th and 21st of July. In the meantime, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap, but I'm going to eat a bunch of chocolate before I do it, because that sounds like fun. What's my song choice? Little Witch Academia. Sweet.